It's all for you. Yeah, yo. There whenever it matters, and even more when you feel like it doesn't. Protect you so you never feel like you wasn't. Know I'm right alongside you. Either that or I'm behind you, but always got you. End of discussion, nothing means more. First one to offer is shoulders for what you reach for. Thought I saw the eyes of the world until I seen yours. And know that I ain't see a better view yet. I'm with whatever, so don't ever you fret. Know that you covered, not a hurdle or a heartbreak. A change what a partake, cause none of them won't ever get comfortable in your walkway. My job is to aware you, fully loaded, prepare you for all of the above that I'm never letting get near you. But still in all, give you every advantage I found. Couldn't find a better fit for them, along with my crown. And since the baton was passed, I've been down. Cause failing's not an option, and dad is not a noun, not at all.
What's going on? What's going on? What's up, everybody? This is Ishmael from Dad is Not a Noun. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm doing well. I have a special guest today with me. What's dope about this brother is that, when you talk about the vampire world, especially in the Black experience, when you think of Blackula, and then you think of, vampire in Brooklyn. But this project right here, to me, I think is one of the dopest projects when you talk about the Black experience, but in the vampire world. And his brother is dope, and I'm honored and privileged to have him on the show with me. He has a project called Dayblack. First, most importantly, he's a father, a devoted husband first. Also, he's a tattoo artist. He's a painter. He's an illustrator. He's a graphic novelist. This brother has his hand on everything, and I'm truly privileged and honored to have this brother on. Keef Cross, how you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming on the show, man. How are you doing? How's your family doing? How's the summer going for you so far?
Everything's going well, man. Starting to feel a little more freedom. Um, could be false sense of freedom. You know what I'm saying? Actually, as soon as I said that, I was like, really? But just starting to feel a little better, definitely better than last year. You know what I'm saying? I can't say that much as far as the paranoia and just the air of dread around is a little bit lighter. But other than that, yeah, just business as usual. Raising these kids, loving these wives, loving my wife.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
You're gonna have people coming after you on DMs on the IG, like, what are you talking about wives?
Right. Not with that poly life.
Oh, you a part of the Atlanta Housewives? No, nobody telling you? But I appreciate you coming on. But my first question is, everything's kind of going back to normal now. But at the same time, I pose this question to a lot of the dads that's been on the show. What have you learned through the pandemic as a creator, as a father, as a husband, and more importantly about yourself?
Man, well, I would definitely say as an artist, it definitely left me with no more excuses, no more chances to, or there's always a chance to procrastinate, but no more, no, nothing else to blame the procrastination on. I'll say that, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm basically just, you know how it was, it's just you and whatever your devices were. Mine happened to be art. So actually, I thrived during the pandemic artistically. I just worked and I stockpiled work. Um, my daughter is a budding artist, and we discovered that through the pandemic, just from us having all this time together now. And I was like, oh, wow, my little girl can draw too. So we started doing little impromptu art classes. Um, so it was definitely a positive thing. One of those experiences that I think could only happen during a time like this, which is sad, that something like that had happened for those things to happen. But that's how it is sometimes. Sometimes things got to go left for it to go right.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And then, like, what did you learn about yourself, like personally, as a man, like that kind of that you didn't know about yourself then, but going through it that you learned about yourself personally.
I would say that because I always felt like too much time with the family might be too, like I was just like, oh, I need a break. You know what I'm saying? Like I need an outlet. But it really wasn't that bad, man. Like, and I don't know if it was because we were all in the nest of safety at home together, and that I knew where everybody. I just maybe just the fact that I knew everything that was going on outside, and I knew my world inside was safe. I looked at it differently, as rather it being um, not an annoyance, but something that I thought would be an annoyance ended up being something that like I end up now like not even wanting to really go anywhere without them. Like that was a result of it. All last year is like really, I'm like, I really like chilling with my family. Like, I really just like being at home, because I don't know, I know where they've been.
No, I feel you on that. But also, what have you learned from your daughters that you didn't know that you probably didn't know, but now you know through the pandemic?
Yeah. Well, I learned that they didn't see me as much as they wanted to. You know what I'm saying? That was one of those things. And this is when I was tattooing. I actually retired from tattooing a couple years ago. I ended up having kidney surgery. I had a kidney transplant, so that kind of took me out of commission for a while. That was about a year ago. So yeah, I learned that. I learned that I was missed more than I thought I was missed. I learned that my daughter was probably watching me a lot more than I thought she was, which is how kids are. You know what I'm saying? You want them to pay attention to everything you do good, but you forget about the little stuff in between that may not be great, or just may not be what you as a parent want to show your kids. So, but they pick up all that stuff. They pick up all that stuff, and sometimes she'll call me on some stuff, and I'll be like, "What? Like, nah, I don't, nah. Oh, yeah." So it just gave me it definitely I already knew this, but it definitely reinforced the fact that, what I'm saying, watch what you do around your kids. And that goes both ways, because the stuff they may have learned that may not have been great, the stuff that they did learn that was great was also things that I didn't know they were watching. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know my daughter was watching how I shaded my pictures or the line work that I use. But when I see her artwork, my oldest daughter, her name is Shannon, she's 22. So my kids are 22. My oldest is 22. My next daughter is 9, and my son is 3. And I also have a grandson who's 2. But so yeah, both of my daughters are artists, totally different styles. But yeah, and that's another thing. I literally just made a post about this. My daughter just had her first festival where she was selling like her own personal artwork and jewelry, and I was like, "Yeah, you gotta watch," because I never would have thought she wanted to go that route. And out of the blue, She was
Right.
like, I'm doing this show. And I'm like, oh, because we used to literally do this when she was a little baby. Like she used to
Right.
come with me on up until now, on up until maybe a couple of years ago. And just to see her do that without me prompting her, and it just seemed to come naturally. It's like, genes are really strong, but it's like, damn, it's like stuff like that. Okay, it's like when you think about genes, it's like you think about looks, you think about
Right.
attitudes, personalities, maybe even diseases or things like that. But you forget about the little nuances like, like business sense or,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, or artistic or savvy or just the desire to want to be an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? Like these are also things that are inherited that could be just like kind of underlooked. But when I saw that, I was extremely proud. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you raise them purposely, then you raise them indirectly too.
Right. And then touch on like the husband aspect of it, being a husband through the what you learn through the pandemic.
I can't hide nothing, man. You can see my face. I can't hide anything. What I'm thinking. I learned that my wife is the most beautiful, loving, caring creature in the world. Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. But all of that, but also, I don't know, man. It was kind of like doing time for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like it was really like
Oh, really?
not just with her, not just with her. I'm just
Okay.
gonna say the whole situation. It felt like doing time, but with somebody, but with your partner. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
like y'all really look at, like y'all are metaphorically looking each other dead in the eye every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like an
Right.
understanding. Like, it's hard to really put into words, man. But it was definitely there was no fighting. You know what I'm saying? It was nothing like you hear about people like, oh, people gonna be breaking up and babies, like all kind of stuff. But it was really just it was I can't really say anything bad, man. That's my best friend. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was gonna be locked up with anybody, I'm glad it was her. Um, just an amazing mother, which takes a lot of off of me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
before I even think about doing something, she's already doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So just big up to her and just watching her. And she was also a teacher, so for a while she was doing a lot of online teaching before the schools open back up. So just to watch her in her space while I'm in my space working
Right.
was a beautiful thing. And to watch her stop what she's doing and go assist my daughter who's also schooling from the computer. Just a busybody. It just makes
Right.
when you just see a person on their day-to-day routine where normally you wouldn't see, you just have a whole nother respect for what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And to do it, and you at work, and you a mom, all of that stuff, man. So very enlightening, man. And it's crazy because I'm saying all this now, but I never even. It's like one of those things where you don't. It takes somebody asking you a question for you to actually say things that have been on your mind that you haven't really voiced. So now that I'm hearing myself say it, I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's exactly how I felt. Yeah.
No, I feel you, man, and that's awesome. And going back to genes and lineage, I go back to one of my favorite quotes. Before you could become a mentor, you have to be a protege. Um, so, like, talk about just growing up. Like, who were some of your mentors growing up? Like, maybe was it like a father figure, or was it maybe your father? Was it your mother? Someone that kind of got you like into that world of creation, creating things.
Yeah, I would definitely have to say my grandfather. His name is Emmerich Matthews. Um, he was probably my favorite person in the world, like in general. Period. Um, he was just cool. He was an artist also. He was the first person I think that I ever knew that could draw as a young age. Just seeing somebody sit there and paint in front of me, that was the first time I ever saw that. Um, there were other people though. My mom. When you have a single mom like I did, single moms, it's like their mission to seek those male influences out. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Even though my dad was still in the picture, he was in another state, so he wasn't right there with me.
Right.
But she would always be like, just lining me, like whether she's putting me on a sports team, whether she's got me, you know, it was always something where it was going to be interaction with other boys and other strong male leaders. You know what I'm saying? So I even got to give my mom props for that. You know. Then of course my high school art teacher, Mr. Lodeholt, Tony Lodeholt. He was very influential in me. He was even, and he didn't even do the same type of art I did. He did sculpture, but he was a mentor, and as far as the what I can do with art money wise, because he was really getting it. He had contracts for like Coca-Cola, but he was our art teacher. So at the same time, you know the running joke is those that can't do teach. You know what I'm saying? But when you see your teacher doing it, it's like, well, you know what I'm saying? What is that? You know, that goes totally out the window. So you're coming to work listening to him teach, but at the same time, when class is over, you're seeing all these suits come to his classroom to talk business, and you're like, damn, you know, Mr. Lowe. So those are probably my top influences in my life. You know what I'm saying? I have a lot of artistic influences, but mentor wise, those will be my top ones, right? Definitely my grandfather would be top of the list. That's the person that I want people to look at me like. That's the type of person who I just want to leave that aura behind when I'm gone. Like the same way I feel about him, that's the way I want people to feel about me. That's the goal. You know what I'm saying? Especially my kids.
And I think you're doing that because you do have that body of work that people look at too. Because I think what makes you dope, as like similar to like other artists or illustrators I look up to, like Marcus Williams or even Dan Lish, is that when you look at your artwork specifically, is that that's yours. You know what I'm saying? Because
Absolutely.
in this day and age in social media, people will take artwork, they'll post it on their feed, they won't put in like the where they got it from. And so it's hard to find an artist. But for me, I mean, being a big fan of art, I can recognize, I'm like, you know what? That's Cross artwork right there. Like,
Right,
let me go
right,
hit up Cross and let him know that someone posted his artwork on their feed.
right.
And that's what's dope about you, is that your style is unique. And so where did you learn to create that uniqueness in your work?
Whew, man. I don't know, man. That's like, I don't know. That's like asking a singer how they can hit those notes, you know? I don't know. You know, it's just I think it's less of where did I get it from, or more of when did I embrace it? You know what I'm saying? Because I think a lot of people try to conform. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, not just in art, but in life in general, but specifically in art, I'm not going to say conform, but I will say there's so much out there now. You know what I'm saying? Like with the internet has just completely opened it up. So there's so much out there that you have to stand out. You have to be different. You have to have a style. Like those brothers you mentioned, Marcus Williams, incredible. You know what I'm saying? I can never do that. I don't want to do that. You know, that's not my lane. You know what I'm saying? That's him, and he's killing it. You know what I'm saying? Dan Lish. Oh my God, that dude is disgustingly dope. Like I just found out. I just found out he was doing digital. Like all that stuff is digital. Like I was like, holy shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's people like that, but at the same time, I know a lot of artists can be frustrated. Like, oh man, why my stuff ain't that good? But you can't look at it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't look at it like that. Like, yeah, those guys are dope, but they can't do what I do. You know what I'm saying? And I can't do what they do. And I'm sure none of us want to do that. You know what I'm saying? We all want to live and thrive in our own style. You know, especially when it is so unique. Um, my style in particular, I would say, like, you know, from being a tattoo artist, that was definitely a large part of it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people look at it and say it looks like a tattoo, or I can just tell the tattoo influence. And it's not something that I planned on doing. It's just from being in that life and just drawing tattoos every day and drawing my own stuff. It's kind of like it turns into muscle memory at some point, and you just kind of, my tattoo work, my illustration work bled over into my tattoo work and vice versa. So for me, when I realized I had an original style, a unique style, I'll say that more than anything, a unique style, not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it's perfect. I don't try to make it perfect. You know what I'm saying? I don't I don't paint over too many images too long. You know what I'm saying? I like to just get it out. And perfect is boring to me personally. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same reason I really don't do a lot of realism, because I'm just like, I'm not trying to beat a camera. I'm not trying to beat a photograph. You know what I'm saying? So, not no disrespect to those people that do it. It's just not one of those things that come easy for me. I could do it, but it'll be more like work than fun. So, yeah, so acknowledging you got a unique style, and then when people like it, it's like, oh shit. So you be like, oh, y'all like this, so I could really kind of go in. So when I found out I was getting reception from it, it just made me just chip at it and make it, refine it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look back at the first volume of Dayblack, like I look at it now and I'm like, man, this shit looks fucking horrible. And I'm like, they like this shit? Like, y'all really like this? And I'm sure a lot of artists feel like that. You know what I'm saying? I bet Nas can listen to Illmatic and be like, oh man, this shit is whack, but we love it, So yeah, it's just one of those things, man. I'm blessed to have a style that people feel is original and unique. I feel very happy about that instead of just being amazing and forgettable.
And it is very unforgettable because it's unique. And again, you coming from that tattoo world, and so you can see that world kind of be a part of what you created with Dayblack. So you have the mixture of two worlds. So what came first? Was it the tattoo artist, or was it just the illustration? What came first?
Illustration.
Mm.
Illustration, because I wouldn't have gotten a job if I couldn't draw. So that was the first thing. Knowing how to draw got me in the door. Um, and well, what was funny is I actually went to art school for illustration, got out, and I started a tattoo apprenticeship just kind of out of the blue. It just kind of fell in my lap, and the money was so good, and I was making art, so I was like, well, this is really the point. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what it's all about, is to make is to make a living off of making art. And that's technically what I'm doing. So I never even tried to even get a job in what I went to school for. You know what I'm saying? Because I figure I was already, why even go through all that when I'm already here? So, but in retrospect, I wish I had done that, because like now I'm even having an urge to go back to school. You know what I'm saying? Because I just feel like you never stop learning. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I just want to go back and just take a painting class or just take an illustration class to just learn. It feels good to learn something. You know what I'm saying? Even especially when you think you got your style figured out, you think you got what you do figured out. It's nothing better than that feeling of learning something new. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me personally. So I've just been having that desire to go back to school, even maybe culinary school. I've been having an urge to kind of, I just feel like anything that I can create with my hands, I can be good at it. So
No, I think that's important too, because you want to be good at many things. Because often, as Black people, as Black men, world kind of try to put us in one box. Like, they like, oh, you're this great illustrator. That's all you do,
right,
illustrate. And it shouldn't be that way. You should be able to do multiple skills, and then at the same time, with multiple skills, you can make multiple income from those skills. And that's, I
absolutely,
think, one thing that's important that we have to teach ourselves, and then to teach our generation, is that you can be skillful in different things. You know what I mean? And I think that's important. And I think I'd be awesome if you go back to school and just build on the craft that you already excel in. And then also, if you want to learn something else, I think that would be awesome. Um, but like, talk about a little bit of how, I'm trying to think, how can I say this? Um, like, what was the first? Do you remember the first thing you drew?
yeah. The first thing I ever drew was, well, the first thing I ever drew, because keep in mind, before I knew I could draw, I was like a tracer.
Right.
So, and I'm ashamed to say, I'm not ashamed, but this is just part of my story. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I was in middle school, I wanted to draw so bad, but I was scared to do it. So I would just trace everything and tell everybody that I drew it. You know what I'm saying? Because there was this one girl, I remember there was this girl, and she was good, man. Like, she was really good. And all the teachers, like the art teachers, loved her and shit. And I wanted that. I wanted to be that. You know what I'm saying? So I would trace. I would just trace and just trace everything. And my grandfather one day saw me tracing. I'll never forget it. He was sitting in his lazy boy chair. I was laying on the floor under his, kind of by his feet on my stomach drawing. And he saw me tracing and he was like, why don't you just try to draw it? And I was like, all right. So I sat there and drew it and I was like, oh shit, I am drawing this shit. And it was happening. Like it was literally happening. And it was a picture, I'll never forget it. It was a picture of, it was a cover of the X-Men.
Wow.
It was you read comics?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. So it was a cover of the X-Men, Jim Lee cover. It was when Wolverine was jumping in the air, ripping the Mandarin. It's like that pose where he's like this, and the
I
Mandarin.
remember. Yes.
That right there was the first picture that I ever drew, and that was it. From that point on, it was a wrap. It was a wrap.
Wow.
Like I was drawing like everything. Like,
But do you think psychologically, if you think back then, now, that tracing kind of help you build that structure of writing, of illustrating? Because when you trace, it kind of builds that form of structure when
absolutely.
you're creating.
Yeah, what it did was precisely, and what it did was like, because the way I draw or the way I sketch is I sketch in straight lines. I don't sketch like this, like a lot of people sketch and like bunch of lines. I do like one line, lines. So I draw like you would sketch, which is weird, which is dope that they came out like that. So all my sketches are always really clean and they look like tracing, which is a weird byproduct of it. But yeah.
No, I don't think it's weird. I think it's dope because you already have the vision of what you're creating, and you already have structure. And I think what happens is a lot of the artists, they don't have structure, and so they go everywhere when they create, and when it comes out, it doesn't look clean. It doesn't look consistent.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of hinders a lot of artists sometimes. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of artists out there that do great work, but sometimes you could kind of see, this kind of looks half-assed, and you look at it, you're like, I know why it looks half-assed.
Right, and then at that point, it's just like, okay, do they know it looks like that? Do they not know how, or do they know it and don't care, or do they not know it and think it looks good? You know what I'm saying? So because you'll put something up and you'll get comments and some you think is whack, people be like, oh, fire emoji, fire, like, oh, like oh, well, he's never gonna learn, because people are reinforcing it, but at the same time, people don't know. It's just like when I was doing tattoos, like people would come in and they would say, oh, I don't care what I get, I just want all this filled up. I'm trying to, and then you like, well, what do you want though? And it's like they don't care. And then, but you think about it, look at who they looking up to. They looking up to Lil Wayne. They looking up to Gucci, who are just covered in all this really bad tattoos. You know what I'm saying? So that's the bar. You know what I'm saying? And people think that if you can draw a little bit, then if you can do something they can't do, they're like, well, I can't draw a stick line. If you have minimal drawing skills, you're gonna get props. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So imagine that as a tattoo artist. You could be minimally good, but if somebody feels like they can't do it, they automatically think you're the greatest. You know what I'm saying? So there's levels to it, man. But yeah.
And like, take me back to you took the apprenticeship to do tattoos. So take me back to that tattoo world. Like, talk about that environment, being there.
Yeah, man, this is definitely a lifestyle. It's definitely a lifestyle. Similar to selling drugs, similar to stripping. And I say that because it's fast money. You know what I'm saying? It's tax-free money and it's pretty dependable money, but it's also one of those things that, I take it back to what my daughter said, how they kind of miss seeing me because you get addicted to that money because you can really, it's one of those things where you can be like, I could take today off and just chill, or I can go to work and maybe make like $2,000-$3,000 easy. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, what choice do I have at that point? And that's definitely something that I regret. Not regret because, I mean, I took care of what I needed to do because of that. But I just wish I had to balance my time out a little more and didn't put so much emphasis on the money. But at the time, yeah, As far as the environment, man, well, I started out in a flea market at. Are you in Atlanta? You based in Atlanta?
Nah, I'm in PA, brother.
Okay. So that was just that's Philly, right? Okay.
I'm not that far. I'm like an hour and 20 minutes from Philly. I'm in Bethlehem, which is basically near the Lehigh University.
Okay.
So I'm not that far. I'm not that far.
Okay. I was up there for the the Glyph Awards. You probably know about the glyphs and the
Yes, I do. I do.
Ekback and all that. Okay. Yeah. I won some awards up there. I had to come up there.
Yes, sir.
Had a great Philly. But yeah, but as far as the
Real
the
fast,
whole
did you have a cheesesteak for Philly? Did you go to
I sure
Geno's
did.
or Charlie's?
Man, I don't know because everybody said they had the best one. You know what I'm saying? I probably went to the first one I saw, but I remember it was in like a open marketplace. It kind of looked like it was like right by our hotel in the city, and it just kind of looked like an open market. Everybody, it was
Okay.
real busy and like, so it felt like it was one of those places we went to. But very nice city, and yeah, I remember I gave a homeless guy a copy of Dayblack that night because we were eating outside this restaurant, and it was outdoor dining, and this homeless guy came up, and he was like bothering everybody. Everybody was eating. He was just like, and we just, I was like, hey man. He was like, well, nah. He walked up to my table, and the book was right there. The book was sitting there. I had a stack of books because we were just like,
Right.
I would think I was signing them or something to sell them the next day or something. And he was like, what you got there, man? What you got there? And I was like, take it, man. Take it. He's like, thank you, brother. Thank you.
That's dope.
But
I
that's
thought it
just
would be different. He's like, yo, can you give me a cheesesteak? I don't want what am I gonna do with this book? I can't eat this
yeah.
book.
Hey, he may have been a old scholar, man. That needed a good book to read. You never
That's
know,
right.
So just hopefully he liked it.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's doing better. But yeah, but back to what we're saying. Yeah, it's just a weird lifestyle, man. 9-hour days, just working and yeah. But like I said, I started tattooing when I was about 22. I'm 44 now. I stopped tattooing like maybe 3 years ago. So and really, the main thing that made me stop was just I got to a point where creating stuff for other people was starting to wear me thin, and it's more about the things that I would be asked to do, like
Right.
like I feel like everybody, I feel like all creative people, like I don't feel like we're gonna be as potent as we are right now, as we are when we're young. I feel like the older we get, that reservoir of creativity is gonna start drying up. And I just got to a point where I felt that happening. Like I felt like I was giving all of my creativity up for people who, if I wasn't there, would just go to the next person. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't really, and not to say all my clients, because I have a bunch of great clients who would never go to anybody else.
Right.
But there were those where it would just be like, why am I doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I, I don't want to draw, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to draw Mickey Mouse, smoking a blunt, you know, holding a money bag no more. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like I'm trying, like those type of tattoos. Like it just got to the point where as soon as people walked in, I'd be like, I don't even want to hear what they got to say. But that's neither here nor there. But I just kind of came to a place, and around the same time. Now the thing about tattooing is there would be no Dayblack without tattooing. Because there's this thing called the slow season, and the slow season is in the winter months when it gets cold, where nobody's really showing any skin, so the tattoo business kind of slows down. So this was the time where, out of boredom, I just started kind of documenting these people, these people that I would meet in my chair. People start talking to me, telling me stories, and I just started kind of keeping a mental note. You know, because you tattooing, you kind of turn into like kind of a poor man
Therapist.
shrink. Yeah, a poor man shrink or whatever. So I just started making a little comic strip and uploading it to Facebook and just little stuff like that until I started getting a response and yeah, that's it, man. But it all comes from tattooing. Sometimes I feel like I I became a tattooist, or I was made to be a tattoo artist just to make that book, because I
Right.
look at it now like it's so many. And see, that's the thing about it. Like when I was tattooing, the internet wasn't what it is now. You know what I'm saying? So when the internet really blew up, like especially with like Instagram, and you really started to see work from other people in other countries, And I was like, oh shit, like these people are really killing it. You know what I'm saying? And I was insecure. I got self-conscious because in my little fish bubble, in my little fish tank, I was the big deal, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
in my area. Like people would say Keef is that dude to go to.
Right.
But when I realized these other cats are doing this and doing that, I was like, fuck, like I can't. And it got to the point where if I can't do it on that level, I don't even want to do it, you know?
Right.
So, uh,
Yeah, you fine. I can hear you. You're good.
okay, okay, I'm just making sure. Yeah, so, and it was a good thing, but at the same time, I felt like I had to make a choice because I was starting, the love that I used to have for tattooing was starting to go towards my comic book.
Right.
And with the tattooing, I started to feel my mortality, to say, for lack of a better word. But with my comic book, I started to feel more like a immortality. Like I felt like nobody could fuck with what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? With what I was doing personally, not as a comic book artist, a creator, but what I was doing personally. I was like, I don't feel like nobody can mess with what I'm doing. So that's the mentality I had. I used to feel like that about tattooing, but that didn't happen no more. So naturally, I'm starting to kind of distance myself from it. And the last straw for tattooing for me is because I was just starting to do stuff on autopilot. You know what I'm saying? Like my
Right.
work was just like, just doing it. And the thing about that is you can't be like that with customers. Like they don't know what you're going through. They coming in to get a good tattoo. You're supposed to give them that. And
Right.
like when I don't feel like that no more, I was like, it's time to walk away. Like I don't want to, I don't want to. It's nothing worse than doing a tattoo you're not proud of, and the person is looking at it, and you looking at it, and y'all both like, right, you know what I'm saying? So every tattoo artist can relate to that, and
Right.
nobody likes that. So I just stepped away, man. Luckily, I was in a position where I could, and my book was taking off, and it happened. Everything happened like it should, man.
Yeah, man. But yeah, talk about that transition from tattoo to the creation of Dayblack. Because to me, like I alluded to it earlier, had you had different vampire movies that implemented the black experience, right? You had Blackula, which was that throwback, um, late 70s,
Job turkey, yeah,
Jive Turkey, Dolomite,
yeah.
and then you had Brooklyn and Vampire in Brooklyn with Eddie Murphy,
Oh
but
yeah,
this one is so dope and so unique because I love how you tell the story with the main character, but also how you implement your love for the 90s into it too. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Especially like the hip hop, you know what I mean? Like you have like Wu-Tang in there, you have Most Def. And honestly, I could see Most Def playing the main character.
Yeah, that's who he was based off of. That's literally
Talk
who
about
I based him off. Yeah, yeah, because it was just I was just sketching, and I think I saw a picture of Most Def. He was just looking cool. He had a fedora on, and I was just like, let me just draw this. And I just did a simplified version, and I was like, I don't even remember, but I know he was the prototype. I know he had a look that I like. It might even been the cover of that, the cover where he's like this with the hat on. I think that
Yes, I think that was called Black Rock Store, I think. I could be
something
wrong.
like that, Black
Yeah.
Rock or something like that. Or he had a song called Black Rock on that album. But that was the whole catalyst of the character's look. Um, and as far as yeah, and hip hop go like that's my era, man. That's what I came up in. So it's like when you create your own world, you do what you want to do, and that's what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I just wanted to show a vampire that was into that. Like that's what he was. You never seen a vampire hip hop head. You know what I'm saying? Like you never seen that. So it was just for me, it was just a homage, a chance to like shout out all my favorite groups, everybody, anything that I listened to while I was creating, just to give you a mindset of his mindset just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Um, and being the god of my own world, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put it all over his coffins, and um, and what else? What else you asked? I forgot what you asked me, man. Is that
No,
the
I was just saying that transition from tattoo to creating Day Black, that
yeah?
transition where you're like, you know what? I know you alluded to it earlier that you just didn't have the love to doing tattoos
Right.
anymore. You didn't feel that freedom as an
Right.
artist to create. And so that's when you start pivoting from the stories you heard from your clients
Right.
and then transition into creating Dayblack. But talk about that transition into Dayblack. Talk about
Right.
that.
Yeah. So, you know, it would be I would come to work, I would tattoo when I wasn't tattooing, I was working on Dayblack. You know, at this point, I didn't even have any necessarily, or I didn't necessarily have any notions about getting it published or it being a comic book. It was just something that I was doing. Um, I started uploading it to Facebook. This is before Instagram, so I started uploading it to Facebook pretty consistently, probably weekly. I try to do like something people read like every week. I probably just should have made it a web comic, but I didn't know. Just in between tattoos, let me upload this real quick and see what happens. So one day I got I got approached by a publisher that he's like, hey, I want to publish your work. I'm starting a publishing company. His name's Bill Campbell. He used to have he still has Rosari Publishing. He reached out to me and asked me to publish it, and I was like, sure. Only thing is, the first version of Dayblack was really raunchy. Like it was really raunchy. It was really raunchy. But then again, that was another testament to the tattoo lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just stuff that was happening in my life at the time. And I wanted to show it, but not tell it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not the type of person to run around and just talk about stuff I do. I put it into work. So that's why like Merce is like 90% me. You know what I'm saying? Like everything besides killing people and drinking blood is stuff that I went through or thoughts that I have, you know what I'm saying, that I don't necessarily say just because I'm just not in, unless you know me, I'm just not, I could feel a certain way, but I don't feel a need to impose it on you unless you ask me. And but this was a way for me to say whatever I wanted to say and to say anything. So my publisher, so Bill was like, so yeah, we can publish it, but you gotta think like, do you want your book to be seen or do you want it to be in the back where the nudie magazines are? You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, that's a good point, man. That's a good point. But and at the same time, and this goes back to fatherhood, is at the time I have a daughter that's like 9 or 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things. It's just like Eddie Murphy, right? It's like you're like, damn, why is he making all these fucking family? Why is he making all these corny kid movies all of a sudden? It's all he makes. And for a while, I didn't understand, but I understand. It's like, bro, you want to show your kids something. You want them to see what you do, and you want them to be proud of you in the end. And it's like he's already done everything. He's already done, all the stuff. He's solidified. It don't matter. So right at this point, his kids are growing up. They old enough, and that's how it is. Like my daughter was old enough, and I couldn't justify drawing, vampire orgies and stuff like that. I couldn't justify it anymore. Like why am I doing this? Just because I know I can do it and it's gonna look good. That wasn't a good enough reason anymore. So that made me totally abandoned. Like there's a whole volume of Dayblack that will probably never see the light of day. And if it does, it'll be like a part of some compendium or something, or compendium. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, and so once we got past that, we cleaned it up. I tightened up my writing because that was another thing. I never considered myself to really be a writer, but I used to have meetings with different writers, and like I had probably had 2 or 3 meetings with 2 or 3 different writers just to try to see if they could write it for me. And just because I wasn't sure of myself, I always knew I had good ideas and good concepts, and I like writing. It just wasn't something that came easy for me. So I wanted to just be able to focus directly on the art. But I found that, like I said, when you have a character that's so much you, if you have somebody across from you trying to tell you what you would say or what you would do, it's not going to work, So I was like, I just got to do this myself. So I did it. And my first year out, I won a Glyph Award for Best Writer. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like, oh shit, it's like it just showed me like even those little talents, man, you got to nurture even the little ones because you just never know. So yeah, and so that was the transition. So and I was still tattooing well after Dayblack was published, so I was still kind of living that double life, and then another thing I kind of found out, because me being a tattoo artist was starting to become like a part of my identity as a creator. Like the comic book artist, he's a tattoo artist. It was just a part of my whole like description to where I was like, let me keep this shit up because I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to cut my dreads off like Busta Rhymes, you know what I'm saying? Like what I'm known for, you know. So let me keep this going, you know. So you know, for a while it was like pantomime and like tattooing and just that whole lifestyle, just to give people what they expected or what they wanted or what they thought was cool. But yeah, I'm totally over that though. Like I haven't tattooed in about 3 years, and I do it sometimes for, you know, for certain things. It's something that I want to do, but just that going every day and just praying that the person walks through the door is going to have something or is going to ask me to draw something for them instead of picking something off of the wall. Like those days are done, you know.
Yeah. But talk about why did you choose vampire? Because you know you don't see a lot of the Black experience in the vampire world. If you do, you'll see it like I was talking about earlier, or you'll have that one brother that's in one of those WB vampire high school joints.
Right. The non-threatening vampire guy. Well, I will say, because I was never really into vampires like that. Like no more than the average person, you know what I'm saying? But what it was I was watching Interview with a Vampire. And there's this scene where, well, first of all, I always thought that Brad Pitt's character, I forget his name, but I remember Tom Cruise was Lestat, but I can't remember what Brad Pitt's name was. But I always thought it was interesting how he was always so conflicted. Like I've never seen a vampire like that who was like he would eat rats to avoid killing people, or so. And a lot of that is like Merce. Like Merce is like that. You know what I'm saying? His reasons are different, but it's still that's where I definitely was influenced by that. But the main thing and what got me wanting to make this book, because at the time, in the beginning, like he wasn't even a vampire. Like he was just a guy doing tattoos, and then it just kind of morphs into things as time goes by and you start writing. But what happened was there was a scene where there was a part in the movie where they had moved to this plantation. Him and Lestat had moved to this plantation, and they were feeding on the people. And then one night, you remember one night all the slaves kind of rebelled and burned the house down and drove them out. I was like, oh shit! I was like, there's a story in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Especially, and they were feeding on the women, like the servants. They were like, I was like, yo, what happens to these girls when they leave? Like, what happens to these people when they're gone? You know what I'm saying? And that's where the spark of the idea came from. But the thing about it was touchy for me because I'm not necessarily one of those people that's like, oh, not another slave movie, not another slave movie. Like, I understand that viewpoint, you know what I'm saying? But I also understand the need to keep, you know, our ancestors and their experiences relevant and alive and in our faces, in their faces, you know what I'm saying? But not let that be the only thing we see, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think it needs to just disappear. So I was very adamant about not just making this another slave like story. So slavery is just the backdrop, you know what I'm saying? Like slavery, my point was I wanted to show a man coming from one horror being born into a different horror, or one form of slavery being born into a different form of slavery, which is eternal life, the thirst for blood, living forever, seeing people you love die, you know, like things like that. So that's where I got the seed from, of the whole concept. Now, him being a tattoo, and then another thing, just being a tattoo artist, it, like I said, it's like a subculture. You know what I'm saying? It's like you meet people that are into all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You meet people that chip their teeth like fangs. You meet people that split their tongues down the middle. You meet people that drink blood. You know what I'm saying? That really think they're vampires. So just being exposed to that crowd, like I remember I worked in a few shops. I remember I worked in this white shop, and it was just wow. And like I saw just all kind of stuff my little black brain wasn't ready for. You know what I'm saying? But my big black brain, let me say that, wasn't ready for it. And but I took it in. You know what I'm saying? Like I took the parts that I thought were dope and I used it. And yeah, that's where it came. And then it's just all those things, man. Like you take this and you take that, and then your artist brain just kind of mixes it around with your own tastes and your own sensibility. That's where the 90s hip hop comes in. It's just the eating sushi. Like I love sushi. Like, you know, so it's just I'm just doing me. I'm literally just doing me. with a little creative twist on it, you know.
And like I said, I love it because again, every story has to have an origin. You have to
Mhm.
have, when you invest yourself into the character, you want to know why he became a vampire,
Right,
and I think when it comes to stories, there's not a great background on characters, and
right,
I think that's one of the great things you do on Day Black, the series, is that you do a great job of you know talking about the historical perspective of the characters, all the
right,
characters in that world, because it's important, because not just the main character, everyone in the book plays a critical role in
right,
Day Black. And
right,
like I said, you do a great job of telling that story where a lot of people don't do a good job of doing that. So I just
right.
wanted to give my salutes to you for that, because that's
Thank you, man.
that's important when it comes to storytelling.
Thank you, man. Like any kudos I get on writing, I just love it, man. Like I really appreciate it. Like when people tell me the art is great, I'm like, thank you. But when people give me props on my writing, I'm always like, thank you, because bro, I didn't know. Like I wasn't sure. Thank you.
Oh man, yeah. I was hooked by the art, but I was hooked into the story because I'm a type of person that's into story. Because
Right,
I need a beginning, a middle, and an end. I need
right,
something that kind of keep me invested into it. Like
right,
I'll love a person artwork, that's awesome. But if you're telling a story with it and it's relatable,
mm,
I'm gonna keep on investing my time in it. And I think
right,
that's
right,
one of the things that's kind of a lost art when it comes to storytelling.
mm,
Because often what we do is we kind of recycle things. We'll put a
right,
new face on it, but we
right,
recycle it. But
right,
it's not original. It's not
right,
original stories. And
right,
I feel like unfortunately we live in this age where it's hard to find original stories. I know I'm repeating
right,
myself over and over again,
right, right,
but
right, right.
that's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's safety and conformity. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people are afraid to, a lot of people are afraid to be different. A lot of, and it's just like that whole saying goes, like, there's nothing new under the sun. Like, I kind of believe that, but in a way I don't. Like, because for me, like, I feel like there's nothing like Day Black. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there are themes in all stories that are common, like his relationship with his brother. Okay, you could look at that as being Cain and Abel, or Wolverine and Sabretooth. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just that same dynamic that, some things you just can't get away from. But and that's good because I think, the familiarity of that can help too. Because, just that is, so it's not a bad thing, but some people and I just think it just boils down to like it's just of course it's personal taste, but everybody not everybody's just not gonna have or everybody's just not gonna have um that want or need to be different or original. You know what I'm saying? Like like they're not, People want to fit in, people want to sell. It's just like when I see black comic book artists that have all their characters are white. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bruh, or their lead characters are white, or all of them are white or Japanese. And I'm like, bruh, like do you hate yourself? Like, do you like what is that all about? I've never understood that. Like, even when I went to art school, like that's the first time I noticed that. I would see like kids, like black kids, like drawing like, and I didn't even know what anime was before I went to art school, and I saw it, and I was like, I see all these kids with sketches, books, pages and pages are full of these really dope drawings, but
Right,
nobody's black.
right.
And you blacker, and they're blacker than the night. You know what I'm saying? And it's like nobody looks like them in their sketchbook. And I just could not fathom that when we live in a world where everything is white. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, and you just want to be another drop in that white bucket. I don't
yeah.
need to sound like I'm racist. I'm not trying to
You're
sound
not.
like that, but just coming from just for the listeners, just coming from the perspective of just somebody who knows that, or I'm not the only one, but you just feel like I feel like you have a chance to big up your people, your culture, and you chose not to, and it just baffles me, man. So, damn, I done got off track.
No,
Hold
no,
on,
you
what we
good.
talking
No,
about?
no, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, we talking
I
about originality. So
originality,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
appreciate you doing that, brother, because growing up, it's important in emphasizing affirmation and representation. Because again, when I was growing up, you know, when you got comic books, you rarely saw people that look like us in the comic book, or even on TV. Like one of my favorite shows that used to come on Fox when I was little, Saturday morning, was X-Men. Like I can't even remember when was there a black character in that X-Men.
Storm
Storm.
Bishop.
That's it.
Storm and
That's it.
Bishop. That's it.
That's it. You know,
That's it.
and it's important. And then when you're in that world, when you're creating and you see people that look like you and they're creating, but they're not creating images that look like them, you get frustrated. You're like, what about you? What about your features? Do you love your features? Do you love you?
Right.
Or are you just conforming just to get ahead?
Exactly. Hold on, let me turn you up.
Yeah.
Okay. And then another thing is, like, even when I talk to people like that, the reason is usually because they're trying to sell books. They're trying to sell what they're trying to make stuff marketable, more marketable. And even I still can't. I just personally can't relate to that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, honestly, I can count on. Nah, I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna. Yeah.
No, I don't
Yeah,
know.
man, but like, and that's not taking nothing away from these brothers' talents.
No.
To each his own. I just know, me personally, whenever I get a chance, man, I'm putting us out there. I'm making us look good. You know what I'm saying? I'm changing what everybody think they know that we like to listen to, that we like to read, that we like to. I'm trying to put all of that on Front Street in anything that I do. You know what I'm saying? Always. I love y'all. I love my people, man. You know what I'm saying?
And you do it, man, and it shows in your artwork. And then also, what's going on with the animated series? Like, I know, like, you dropped trailers, like, was a couple of years ago. That one trailer was dope. Like, what's going on with that one? And then also there was an actual live action trailer a couple of years ago that was shown, I think was on Afro Punk.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like, what's going on with those? What's up with that?
Yeah, so we actually have a deal with CBS right now. Like, we yeah.
Are you allowed to say that? I don't want to get you in trouble.
Yeah, I'm allowed to say it because it's official. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I just don't like because there's an official statement that's going to be made. So I don't like talking about it until we bust it open all the way. You know what I'm saying? But since it's not really it's just not something I don't like talking about stuff until
it's done. Right.
Done.
Right.
So, but what happened with all of that was the guy that did the animated with me, his name is Durante Avaloy. Avaloy Studios. So he reached out to me. And that's another thing about Facebook, man. Like, Facebook, like, you say what you will about social media, but I got my book published from Facebook. I met my wife on Facebook.
Hold time out. You met your wife on Facebook. Please explain that.
Yeah, I just saw her picture. I DM'd her like, "Hey, what's up?" And we went out, and that was it. We've been married for 7 years.
Oh wow! Congratulations, man. Because that reminds me of. Remember, I don't know if you remember if you had this before. Back in the days, I'm showing my age. Black Planet. Tell me you had a Black Planet.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. I never got on it, but I definitely remember that was the thing to be on. That was definitely the thing to be on. And that's another thing about tattooing, man. It's like this, just the lifestyle. I didn't need to get on Black Planet because it's like you just meeting people daily. It was just like you come to work and it's like, oh, yeah, I'm just leaving it at that. Yeah.
We'll leave that alone.
Yeah, you'll leave that alone.
Like Vegas, whatever happened in Vegas happened in Vegas. Let's leave that alone. But yeah, let's transition back to the CBS is looking like it's going to be lovely. So let's talk about that.
So, well, actually, I'll go before that. The short film that you saw was that was directed by Justin Jordan, my friend. He's actually the guy that donated his kidney to me too. So another way Dayblack has saved my life inadvertently, because if I never did Dayblack, I never would have met him. Never might have a kidney right now. Might still be sitting in dialysis right now.
Wow.
So shout out to Justin. But where that came about was I was pretty confident in Dayblack, but I knew that I didn't want to draw comics for the rest of my life. I knew that the next step, because I always wanted to be a filmmaker. I went to art school. I majored in film. I always wanted to be a filmmaker, but I just didn't have the resources to do it. So me creating this book was the best way. Like when I wrote it like a screenplay. You know what I'm saying? When I drew it, I kind of pictured it being a film being shot. So my wife, who is an actress, and she just has a rich community of actors. Her father is actually Thomas Bird, who just passed last year. So just having that whole network of actors, I was like, damn, let me see what I could do. So we talked about it, and she reached out to some of her people. She reached out to her friend. Her friend's husband was a advertising or marketing director at some firm or some marketing company, so he had access to cameras. Justin. Then all of her friends are actors, so we ended up doing like a roundtable meeting, a roundtable reading.
Wow.
And at this point, it's just all friends kicking it. We just going all actors and actresses just kicking it, reading my script, and that was amazing. Just to hear your characters being voiced was crazy.
Wow.
I'll never forget the first time I heard Eugene. His name was Eugene Bird, who played Merce in the short film. But as soon as I heard him speak his voice, man, I just got bumps. I'll never forget it. Just to hear that, you know.
Right.
So we did that. It didn't cost me anything. Like everybody worked pro bono. I think I had food stamps at the time, so I was like feeding the cast with my EBT, and that's all they really wanted. Everybody just really liked the script. They liked the concept and just got behind it. Man, I was just so blessed for that to happen. So that happened. Fast forward, we did a couple film festivals. You know, fast forward to maybe, I don't know, I guess rewind from now to, I guess maybe 3 or 4 years ago, Durante reaches out to me. And man, we've been Facebook friends for years, but you know, it's like one of those things, like you've been friends with people for years, but you know their avatar, but you don't really know them, you know. So he reached out, and I was like, yeah, what's up? He was like, yeah, I just got a, you know, I got an animation company. I was like, no, I didn't know that. And he was like, yeah, we just got a grant from Toon Boom to produce a we just got a grant from Toon Boom to produce a to produce IP from, I think, about 5 different creators. So he got a grant to reach out to 5 different creators to develop the IPs. I was one of them. Well, at that point, I was like, "Oh, that's dope! Like, can you do me? How much? How much did that run me?" He was like, "No, I ain't gonna run you nothing. If you want to do it, I got you." So I was like, "All right, cool, let's do it." So let me see, what happened? Yeah, so we did a the goal was to shoot a pilot. So we did like a sizzle reel. That's probably what everybody saw. Then it got to a point where I think Durante felt like it was going to be a little too ambitious for what we wanted to do. So he ended up reaching out to his contacts, who eventually reached out to other people. And we ended up shopping the concept, and we ended up signing a production deal with this animation company called Trioscope.
Okay.
And Trioscope just did a movie on Netflix called The Liberator.
Yes.
And if you check it out, have you seen it?
I heard it, but I haven't seen it.
All right. If you check it out, you'll see the style that Dayblack is going to be in, which is basically a hybrid, hybrid live action animated style that you've seen before in movies like I don't know if you've seen Waking Life or
I've seen that.
Scanner Darkly or any of those type of movies.
Yes.
That type of style, but it's a little bit different. So there will be real actors, but with animated on top of them. So right now we are we just had a meeting a few days ago. Quality Control Music is also signed. Let me chill.
No, yeah.
Let me chill. We have people involved. We have some pretty big names involved and attached. Quality Control Music is the record label for Migos and Lil Baby and Cardi B and everybody that's pretty much hot right now. They've just signed on as producers, so that's going to bring another element and marketability to everything. So right now, and I just posted. I don't know if you saw, but I just posted like my wish list of actors and actresses because we are really having those conversations right now, which is just crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really, really happening. But at the same time, I know how this shit can go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know some stuff gets made, some stuff doesn't. You know, some stuff can get made and never see the light of day.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm confident is because, well, I know my shit is dope. But aside from that, we are just in a time right now where being black in entertainment is the hot shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Which has
Yeah.
always been. But as far as movies and comedy, like not just music and sports, but
Right.
film, you know what I'm saying, and books. Like we starting to get more representation.
Yep.
So now everybody's snatching up everything black, and I definitely feel like Dayblack benefits from that. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. I'm not dumb. Like this is what this is what's hot right now. Is it going to stay hot? Who knows? You know, but right now it is. So, um, yeah, that's the hot thing right now. So yeah, and I'm trying to think of what else I could say.
I don't want you to say anything that'll get you in trouble.
But you know what's crazy? but you know what's crazy though? Nobody has told me not to say anything.
Right.
I just don't want to say nothing.
And it get picked up, and like you get that call, like
right,
what are you doing?
right. I'm just like, I'm used to everybody being hush hush about everything. That I'm
Right.
gonna be hush hush too. Like
Right.
nobody else says anything, I'm not gonna say nothing. I don't know why, but I'm not gonna do it. You know what I'm saying?
No, but you should be excited, man. You put all this work into it starting 2007. I mean 2000, early 2000, to where, you know, right now it is on the verge of being something where the world will consume. And it goes back to us that we have to support creators like you, because it won't blow up until people ask for it.
Yeah.
Not ask for it, but just push it and then create it. Because often as people, and that's the one thing I get frustrated sometimes too, is that we're always asking for like Disney, Netflix, this and that to create it. It's like, won't you create it?
Right.
You know, you have a mind, you got a pen, you have a paper.
Yeah.
Create it.
Yeah.
Stop asking other people to do some shit. Just create it yourself.
Yeah.
You never know. It may take off, but you create it.
Right. Yeah, we just been inundated with that's the mountaintop, man. Like for artists, for animators, for cartoonists, Marvel, Disney, you know what I'm saying? Like this is, as kids, you know, it's like McDonald's, you programmed to love it. You know what I'm saying? This is what you want, you know what I'm saying? But it's, you know, you just gotta, it's just so much out there, man. Like anybody can do anything that they're doing, you know what I'm saying? Everybody has the tools. Nothing is, you can do anything you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like if you feel like going to Disney is going to validate you as an artist, or if you feel like working for Marvel is going to validate you somehow, then go for it. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I just don't feel like that's the end all anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so many successful, and then you know, success is relative. You know, what is your idea of success? You know, it depends. You know, but you know, there's so many dope black artists out there, so many dope black comic books being made.
Yeah.
But yeah, people are always crying about, oh, this like we don't have, like, bro, it's there. You just don't want it. You know what I'm saying? You just don't have that name brand attached to it, so you're not sure. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's with anything black, man. Like anytime, not anything black, but we tend to do that to each other. You know, we'll open a business and might not support it or want to come in there and get a hookup. You know, like we always do that to each other. It's not for some reason. We know why. You know what I'm saying? This is generations of programming, generations of, you know, Jim Crow, generations of all these things. You know what I'm saying? So it's no wonder. It's not surprising. It's just disheartening that it's still like that. You know?
No, it's facts, man. But before we end this dope conversation, what I love what you're doing is you're leading by example for your daughters. Like again, when you build it, they'll come.
Yes.
And just like other people I had on the past, that's Korean. You know, you don't need Disney, you don't need Netflix. You know, all you need is creativity, purpose, and determination, and then just put it out there in the world. You know, people gonna love it. They're gonna love it. If they're not gonna like it, they're not gonna like it. But at the end of the day, you did it, and that's the most important thing. So, what word of wisdom do you have out there for the people?
Man, just in general,
just in general, brother.
Man, I don't know, man. Just in general, shit. There's so much. I can definitely speak to artists. Um, to any aspiring artists out there listening, just work on your craft. I feel like the key to success, whatever your definition of success is quality and consistency. You know what I'm saying? Um, Quality and consistency. Um, yeah. Love your family, love your kids, take care of your wife, man. Rub them feet. Um, put as much attention into that family as you do your craft. Anything that you do worth doing is going to be hard, and that's the thing about being an artist, man. Like, people, it's like nobody values you as an artist until somebody of value values you. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
it's like they don't take you serious unless you've been validated by somebody that they feel is important. So you just can't let that discourage you, and you got to think to yourself, why do I make art? You know what I'm saying? Why do I create? Do you create for yourself or for somebody else? And depending on what your answer is, that's going to be your path. you know
Facts, man. That's dope, man. Again, I thank you for your time. I appreciate it, man. You're always welcome to jump on this platform anytime you got anything new. Whenever that, that drops that we talked about, that I hope you don't get in trouble for.
I don't even know if them guys will follow me on here, but yeah,
Uh,
I think I'm good. I'm good, but definitely when
but
the announcement hits, man, you'll definitely know.
I appreciate you, man. And we are out. Peace.
Peace.